Hello, BookTube. This is Alan here for Friday Reads. I finished a couple of books and one physical book and one ebook. And the book I finished in like a couple of hours it took me because it's just a middle grade read because you need something light. You need a light read to get you back on the path, so to speak, of reading. And this was the book called How to Steal a Dog by Barbara O'Connor. This is the story of Georgina Hayes. She is a teenager, middle grade, and she has a little brother. Her father left the family, and they can't afford any money for the apartment where they live, so they have to live in the car with their mother. So they live in the car, and it tells you about the experiences she has to go through living in the car, wearing the same clothes all the time, taking like a spit bath at Texaco restroom, or in a Pizza Hut or something. And her mother struggles to make ends meet, and she goes on and has several. There's a lot of other. Excuse me. There's a lot of other problems that go along. And one time she is walking by this telephone pole and sees a sign saying reward $500 for a lost dog. So she decides to steal a dog, hold it hostage until the person comes along and until she sees the reward sign, and then she will go ahead and return the dog and get a reward for it. So takes her time in writing down the problems and how to do this, because she doesn't want a dog that barks a lot. She wants the dog to be, excuse me, excuse me. She wants the dog to be in a place that is rich. The house has to be rich. The people have to be rich that own the dog, and the dog has to be friendly. And also, she needs a place to keep the dog, because she can't keep the dog in the car where she lives with her little brother and her mother. So she keeps this hidden from her mother, and she goes with her brother to go hunt for a dog and walks on the street called Whitmore Street. And this takes place in the South. And Whitmore Street, and she sees this kind of the houses there are just normal houses, and she sees some dogs, but they're too mean and too bark a lot. And she sees this brick house, real old brick house, and on the mailbox it says Whitmore. So she figures that the person that lives there, excuse me, the person that lives there is the same person that owns the street. So the person has to be rich, and they have a dog, a small dog, and so she ends up stealing that dog and hiding it in an abandoned house that the her and a brother and a mother lived there for just a short while. It had didn't have a roof, or hardly had a roof, and smelled mildew and rats running through it and spiders and everything else. It was not a very great place to live. And then she comes upon this, so she finds out a way to feed the dog, just shares some of the breakfast that she had. Well, one time she goes to the house to give the dog some scraps, when all of a sudden she sees a man there. And the man, throughout the story, kind of knows what's going on, and but doesn't say anything. And the guy has doesn't go to school, never went to school because he said school was like putting a trap door on a canoe. And he has a lot of sayings like that. And the guy's name is Mookie. And he has a lot of folksy sayings. And one of the sayings he has is that got her attention is that our favorite motto. Let's see if I can find it here. And oh, I can remember. It says, "If you keep stirring it, it will continue to stink." And she finds out that the person that she stole the dog from is not rich at all. It was their family long generations back that used to own the land, and she is not rich. Her sister is, and Georgina tries to get money from her, but the dog was the only thing that the lady had. So if you keep stirring it, it will continue to stink. So it was a great book. I really enjoyed it. The other book I read was on ebook, and I have like a pocketbook reader on my phone. It's called A Blaze of Light. And it's the story of a Medal of Honor winner by the name of Gary Beikirch, and that's Beikirch, Beirich. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure. And it's by Marcus Brotherter. That's Brotherter. This is Gary was born in New Jersey. When he was a toddler, he was on the second floor of his parents' house. Excuse me. And he was pushing on the screen and the window, and the screen came loose, and he fell to the pavement below. And he survived, but he had to have 100 stitches in his head. When he grew up, his best friend that he hung around with was shipped off to Vietnam, and he learned that his best friend died during Vietnam. Gary wanted to go become a Green Beret, and decided to, because he saw a John Wayne movie, The Green Berets, wanted to be a Green Beret, but didn't want to go to Vietnam. And during the time of his enlistment, when he went to several different bases, especially one in San Antonio, where they do medical training, he wanted to be a medic. And so he became a medic. He went to camp in Arkansas, where he got in trouble with the police. He was in jail. And he said, "Sarge, why are you in jail?" And he said, "No, I'm not in jail, you are." And what had happened was he got drunk, he got in his car, he smashed two other cars, he led the police on a high-speed chase. They finally caught him. When he got out of his car, he was brandishing a billy club to fight the police, and the police essentially won. And the lawyer told Gary, "You have two options. Number one, you need to plead guilty. But the two options are, number one, you can stay in prison for the rest of your life, or number two, you go to Vietnam." So he chose to go to Vietnam, and where he didn't want to go in the first place. So he heads off to Vietnam and goes to an area called, see if I have it here, Dak Sung is DAK, then SEONG, and becomes the lead army medic there, Green Beret medic. Up on the, there's a plaque right before the Dak Sung, by the way, means river of blood. And right above the camp, right above the base of the camp, there's a plaque that says, to really live, you must also die. So he's in there attending some of the wounded, and he meets this tribal group, which is never mentioned. I never heard mentioned in any Vietnam books about Vietnam. They're called the Montagnard. Montagnord. Montagnard. They are they're just like well, I'm trying to give an example of what they are like, but they are not seen as being true Vietnamese, even though they are. They've been there for a long time, and the Vietnamese will push them away. Well, the Montagnard likes the American troops. They like them there. Gary gets a package from his mother for trucks, Hasbro trucks, Hot Wheel cars, and Gary is is a in the tribe, and he is made a member of the tribe, a friend of the tribe, of this tribe. Well, it just so happens that there is a siege, and which lasts several days, and Gary's injured, and a bullet closest by, but it is injured and keeps going out and getting the wounded, bringing them in, treating them, bringing them in, bringing the wounded in, back and forth. And he goes off and he gets hit himself when he can't move anymore. And then he goes back to New Jersey with his parents, and he becomes a Christian. But right after he becomes a Christian, he wants to go to Bible school and seminary, and but still he is haunted by the Vietnamese, his time there, and with the Montagnard tribe. And so he stays in a cave in New Hampshire and hides there. And he received notice that he should receive the Medal of Honor. His the head of the seminary tells him that you have to go. He goes, and it's in 1973 when he's awarded the Medal of Honor. But he feels like that he doesn't deserve it because he didn't do anything, and felt that the gentleman that was in a white suit wearing a white naval officer's uniform on crutches excuse me, was a POW, was more deserving than Gary was. That man, by the way, turned out to be Senator John McCain. And and Gary goes back into the cave, puts the Medal of Honor away, and doesn't pick it up for 15 years. He gets married, and has 3 children, and finally comes to grip about what went on in Vietnam as he makes a return trip. It is an excellent, well-written book. It's called Blaze of Light. The next book that I'm actually reading is called The Maracasta Bridge, and this is by Thomas Hardy. I have never read Thomas Hardy. I've never read a Thomas Hardy novel. And it says here, from the spectacular opening, the astonishing scene which drunken Michael Hinchard sells his wife and daughter to a passing sailor at a country fair, the breathtaking series of discoveries. At its conclusion, the Maracasta Bridge claims a unique place among Thomas Hardy's finest and most powerful novels. So, I've been looking forward to this. Well, that's it, BookTube, and have a good weekend.